There's never going to be justice for us. The justice would bring our son home to us, knocking on the door with his big smile, coming in the house, sitting down eating dinner with us, going out to lunch, playing with his 1-year-old, almost 2-year-old son, giving him a kiss before he walks out the door. So justice isn't even a word to me. I do want accountability, 100% accountability.
It hurts when a 20-year-old alive this time last week is no longer with us. The grieving mother of Daunte Wright today, as the now former police officer who shot and killed her son had her first court appearance on charges of second-degree manslaughter. We continue to keep an eye on the fifth night of protests in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, over this death by police. For more, we are joined by Professor Eddie Glaude, Jr., chairman of the Center of African American Studies at Princeton, also a noted author, and Tim Miller is back with us, a contributor to The Bulwark and former communications director for Jeb Bush. Eddie, I'd like to begin with you. First, my usual bit of advice to our viewers. Anyone looking for the perfect 2021 reading list should just take a screen grab and start going through all the titles behind Eddie Glaude Jr. on his shelf. Eddie, I thought about a number of questions to ask, but I'm going to start pretty basic. How are you processing what you've seen just this week?
It's been a difficult week, Brian, and it's good to be with you. It's been challenging because we have to deal with this at the human level. So to see Daunte Wright's murder on loop, to see the treatment of Lieutenant Nazario, to see what happened to the young 13-year-old brother Adam Toledo, you can't help but think about your own children, your own son, your own family members. So at the personal level, it's been difficult. But also to kind of think about this as this kind of collision. We're in this moment of transition, Brian, as a country, and we don't quite know what we're going to do. There's a form of policing that we've been familiar with, that we've gotten used to, where we called black people super predators and black and brown folks super predators, where we had a form of policing that was okay with John Burge and the black box in Chicago, right? We had a form of policing that resulted in ramparts in LA, right? There was a sense in which violence, how the police treated these so-called criminal communities was okay with the majority of America as we locked them up. But we've reached a point where it seems as if we're trying to transition into something different. And so you have this moment where some people are reaching for a different kind of policing, trying to hold police accountable, while others are clinging to this old way of thinking. And so it's a country in transition. It feels almost as if it's Greek tragedy in some ways, if that makes sense.
And Tim, what Eddie's talking about would require something of a societal, moral sea change. And I guess sea changes happen in slow motion, so there's always hope. Tim, where I want to go with you is more nakedly into politics. It was a big applause line when Trump said, "We love our police." Now we're not having that anymore because we watched Trumpers beat our police officers on 1/6 to within an inch of their lives, some of them with Blue Lives Matter flagpoles in their hands. So let me ask you, how are Republicans likely to process all these very same pictures we're seeing?
Well, look, Brian, I just like to start by saying I could listen to Eddie all night, so I'll try to keep my comments brief on this. But look, I just think I think that there is an instinctual, cultural, grievance-based response on the right that you're going to hear not from all Republicans, but from the majority of the Republicans, from the Republican base voters that powered Donald Trump to the presidency, from the Republican base voters that are keeping him with an 80% approval rating in the party, even after he incited that cop killing insurrection at the Capitol. So you'll see some leaders. I think this is one issue, that you'll see Republican leaders want to come to the table to demonstrate that they would be open to some kind of change, some kind of policing reform. You saw a little bit about this in the Trump era, but the disturbing thing is kind of what's underneath that, what's underlying that with the voters, and it's this grievance and it's a rage and it's this instinctual negative response to want to demonize Daunte Wright and demonize Adam Toledo and demonize George Floyd, and you see that in our social media discussion. You see that in conservative media, and that is the real dark and concerning underbelly of all this for me.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.